if the world were to end tomorrow, what would I do?
Absolutely spend it with my family, probably watching movies, eating popcorn, catch a sunset.
Well, first, I would rob a bank.
I would have my own self-road trip, and I would just kind of do everything that I never thought I would do.
Probably the classic, spend time with friends and family, have one big day all together.
I'd probably go to the beach with my cousins and my friends and just have a really fun time.
Go, skydiving?
I'd go to Disney.
I'd spend it with my family and friends.
I'd definitely have one Last Supper with my whole family.
I think I'd go out to the beach or something and just relax. I wouldn't do anything crazy.
What do people do on a day-to-day basis, and how does that impact the way you'd approach life if you only had 24 hours left? Society has been wrapped around a business mentality since the late 1800s when America became the land of opportunity. However, taking these work opportunities can make us miss out on the opportunities right in front of our faces. Time with family, taking risks, embracing the outdoors, and focusing on self-growth are normally taken for granted. 63% of people say if they could go back and spend more time with family, they would. But life constantly seems to get in the way. The standard of living revolves around work in modern-day society and is significant in the impact of the outlook on daily life.
My typical day is I wake up around 5:30 in the morning, and I go downstairs, I get my coffee, and then drive over to the Plandome train station, jump on the train, and then it takes me about 30 minutes to get into Grand Central Station, and then I walk over from Grand Central to our office, boot up my computer, take a look at my notepad to just prioritize the day. I do some meetings initially with some of my colleagues, and sometimes I'll have lunch with a client or a prospect, and sometimes I'll have dinner. So that's a typical day. I do prioritize sometimes work over other things that I would rather do sometimes, right? Like spend time with my family, or do something for myself like golf or go play soccer. But knowing how demanding our work schedule can be and some of the deadlines we have for our clients, you have to sometimes sacrifice and prioritize work in order to meet certain client deadlines.
Prioritizing yourself during the workday. So making sure you get a walk outside, making sure you get a lunch. There are so many people in a 9-to-5 mentality that work through lunch because they're just sitting at their desk. So getting out, talking to people, making sure your health and wellness is a priority, because unfortunately, the majority of people who experience mental health difficulties attribute their job to one of the reasons why they have mental health difficulties in the first place. So it's interesting because psychologically, as humans, we actually crave routine. So it's good to have things that we can predict, because when you know what to expect from your day, it actually makes us feel more calm, less anxious. Sometimes the unpredictable is scary for humans. So naturally, we actually crave routine. That being said, if you're stuck in the same position, eventually we might crave excitement or things that are different.
So I would say that's where it can be a little challenging, and you have to do a really good job making sure you're balancing your obligations with your family and with your friends, and you don't let work totally consume your life, which it certainly can if you let it. There's always going to be stress in any job you have, and what I try to do to kind of manage stress is reflect and just realize that it is a job, right? It's not life and death. And then the other thing is I just make sure that I eat well and I exercise regularly. That's also a big stress reliever for me, is getting out, whether it's walking, playing soccer, or going for a workout. It's something that I do a lot of.
So I started working as a teacher before I had children, and then I had children, went back to teaching, and started doing real estate as a side thing. And I realized two things. One was the real estate could give me flexible hours where I could be with my children. I can be with them when they get home from school. I could go to soccer, and I can go to all the events that they had. And the other thing was the real estate was a lot more money if you did it right. And so I've been doing real estate for 42 years. And I have been a top agent with Daniel Gale right now. I've been with 4 different companies, and yes, there are sacrifices. If you're going to do something, you got to do it well in order to achieve your goals. And there were times where I sacrificed. I'd have to go to work, and I wouldn't, let's say, go to lunch with my girlfriends or anything like that. To be very honest, I think, and I don't know if I should say this, it did interfere with my marriage. My husband did not want me out that much, and I would run out, or the phone calls. He hated the phone calls. And it really did interfere, I guess, with things that I had in my marriage. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Sometimes it can be an 8-to-8 job, and I have a very long day. They want to know what you can do, what makes you better than the next person that I should go with you. I would make dinner in the morning, or I'd run home in the afternoon. So if I had to run home and do something, I did it. If I had to pick up the kids, I did it. So we had those, those challenges you sort of get used to, but mostly it's hard. It makes it that much harder.
There's been a lot of studies that show that pretty much all generations are starting to feel unmotivated and starting to feel burnt out when you do the same thing for weeks, months, years. Like if you're stuck in the same position, eventually we might crave excitement or things that are different. Our unconscious is the reason why we engage in a lot of these cycles. Usually to break the cycle, you have to figure out underlyingly why we keep behaving the same way. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity, but really it's just human. Like we are conditioned to engage in the same routine and have those unconscious dynamics come out into our lives. But as soon as you figure out actively, why do I keep repeating this pattern, is probably the first step to changing something in your life. Our 9-to-5, even in an office setting, is incredibly different, and to say that what we did in the 20s makes sense now is not conducive to everyone's lifestyle. So even if they're happy with where they're at, there might always be like a what if.
I always wonder if I had played those years, how my career would have been different, just in soccer and in life.
Regret is a verb defined as the feeling of sadness over a missed opportunity. 90% of adults experience regret in general. However, 76% of people regret the opportunities they could have taken but didn't.
Something I regret is probably not taking up offers to travel to different countries.
I guess one thing I do regret in my life is never finishing Greek school.
I guess one thing I regret in my life is focusing on studying so much in high school and not going out and having fun more.
I regret being mean to my sister when I was younger.
One thing I regret in my life is taking myself for granted, putting myself in situations that I probably shouldn't be in, and involving myself in wrong friend groups and wasting my time on people who don't deserve my kindness, my gratitude, and just my love.
The thing I regret in my life is trying really hard to maintain a friendship and continue making something work when it's clearly not going to work. You don't have to be friends with people that are not putting in the same amount of effort as you're putting in, because there are plenty of other people who will.
So, the time has almost run out. Will you waste your last few minutes, or will you make the most of them? Did you spend the day all by yourself, with family, or doing something you always wanted to do? Life is short and unpredictable, so you have to make the most of every day. Don't live with regrets. Don't spend your last day wondering what you could have done. Instead, focus on the I cans and live your life to the fullest. 3, 2, 1.